Augustus Invictus. Augustus Invictus. It's kind of a hard name to remember for me. That's why I'm repeating it. I have listened to most of the debate so far. I'm at about the hour and then 45-minute mark. Adam is now talking about his reasons for doing all of this. And I want to introspect on having watched the debate because to me it was utterly fascinating to watch the entire process of it. It reminded me a little bit of my question thing session with Carl Molinay, in that we have that there was very divergent ways of thinking that in a lot of ways were similar and coalesced. What I mean by that is that Carl Molinay and I both agree on anarchism, and our main disagreement has been in regards to the veganism stuff. And the similarity that we have is that of not knowing. And I, having been about a year ago, having only started veganism about a year ago, or about very recently, I understand the inclination against veganism, in that it is not immediately comprehensible why to do it. My reasoning for it is predominantly an anarcho-capitalist argument, that of buying meat is encouraging and going with the subsidization of meat that government does, the subsidization of a whole bunch of things that government does. But especially with meat, because of how the animals are treated horrendously. With plants, that is not as much of an extreme, it's still there, but with animals, there's simply no ball game there at all. It's obvious. It's not obvious in that until you know about what's going on, you're like, well, they kill animals, yeah, and we're eating animals, yeah, and it's being subsidized, yeah. The implication that it's government subsidized can give you hint and clue to that it's not being done in all that ethical of a manner. And with that is the reality that I got from Bite Size Vegan about the CO2 chambers, which I'm wanting to verify to know that it's actually happening with pretty much all meat. That's the implication that Bite Size Vegan gave, and if that's true, because I'm not entirely sure that is, my guess is that it's the case. If that's true, then there's much reason to advocate veganism at the moment because of the state of society we have, where there is almost a universal belief in slavery and thus a defense of the things that are enabling the brutalization of animals. What I prefer would be something of a Baxter-like test to ascertain the consent of animals, or of plants too, but that's a ways away. So that's the similarity that Kamal and I have in that regard, which is that we agree on the necessity of consent, we agree on the necessity of private property, we agree on most of these things. And the disagreements, at least from what I can tell, are predominantly about things that we both don't know. The similarity with Adam Kokesh to, was it Augustus Invictus? I said it at the first part for a reason, and I'm not quite recalling the name, goddammit. I heard him reference the solution as being beheading people or putting people's heads on pikes a lot. Like his solution for dealing with things seems to be often along the lines of hang them, pike them, kill them, do violence. And I'm just kind of like, okay, calm down a bit, dude. Is your solution to everything killing people and beheading them? You know, there's a person who is offering cocaine. You don't have to get it. He's offering cocaine. And your solution to that problem of the kids not apparently consenting of their own will and choosing for them whether or not they'll have access to the possibility of doing cocaine is to behead him, to kill him. And that's your answer to everything. Behead politicians, behead this, behead that. You're bloodthirsty, Evictus. And that is why I've been, over the course of the debate, incredibly amazed by Adam's handling of it. The one thing that I'm wondering about at this point is whether his assertion or the idea of localization of government is a rational thing, is a sensible thing, is a consistent thing. I don't know. He also made the mention and indication of to the ultimate spot of the divine right or ability of each human being. And because I'm aware of how many of the anarchists are also atheists, or something along those lines, I'm guessing that there might be, at least from some people, a bit of a pushback in regard to divine? Dude, really? And I point this out because I've been actually actively working on that aspect of things. The stuff to do with the holographic universe, the stuff to do with us being gods or godly, the idea of panentheism, God in everything, is something that I think I can start defending in a more vigorous way. I'm keeping it a bit on the down low still because I haven't done as much research as I'd like to do with that. And that is also enveloped within the Baxter stuff, too. The idea of plants also doing consent and animals also doing consent is the entire point here. The idea is, the understanding is that everything relates to everything else. And what I want to do is find and use and make a polygraph test thing that you can have for yourself so you can use it on your food whenever you're doing that, and you can ascertain whether or not they're consenting, and then as well figure out what that means, because I also read in the book, The Sourceville Investigations, that plants can be put into a sleep mode via the paralysis of expecting the death throe of someone going to be about to kill them, and that makes them fearful. And I wonder what the distinction is between that and the consent graph that David talks about in his books. Because to me, those seem like a very similar thing, and I don't know how you would distinguish those things. And thus, how do you know if it's consent or, okay, you're going to eat me and kill me and rape me and murder me, I guess I'm going to just fall asleep so I don't feel that? Because those two things seem to be very different to me.